All right, let's talk about AI. If you've ever asked it for something brilliant and gotten back something, well, kind of boring, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's frustrating. But here's the good news. It's probably not the AI's fault. It's all about how we're asking. And today, we're going to fix that. I'm going to show you a method that will completely change the game for you.
You've been there, right? You fire up a chatbot, you're full of great ideas, you ask it to do something amazing, and then the response comes back. And it's just so basic. It feels like something you could have found in 2 seconds on a Google search. It's really frustrating, isn't it? You can feel that incredible potential sitting there, but your results just keep falling flat.
I mean, this quote really says it all, doesn't it? When you ask a huge, super vague question like, "Make me money," you're basically setting the AI, and, let's be honest, yourself, up for failure. But why does this happen? Let's get into the core of the problem.
So here's the thing. The problem isn't that the AI is bad or dumb. Not at all. It's that we're using it like it's just a fancy search engine. And asking a big, general question is pretty much the fastest way to get a really disappointing, totally unhelpful, and, well, a statistically average response.
Okay, think about it like this. Imagine you had one day with an expert, I don't know, like Elon Musk. You're not going to walk up and just ask, "Hey, how do I make money?" Right? Of course not. You'd ask something incredibly specific to really tap into their expertise. To unlock an AI's true power, you've got to treat it the same way. It's this powerful expert that absolutely thrives on specific, focused questions.
So the real secret to getting way better results isn't about finding a better AI. Nope, it's all about a better way of thinking about how these things actually work. We need a big mindset shift here. We have to stop seeing it as just a search engine or a database and start seeing it as something completely different.
Because at its core, an AI, like ChatGPT, is what you'd call a prediction engine. Just think of it like a giant probability machine. It isn't thinking like a person, it's just looking at all the words you've given it and then calculating, okay, what's the most statistically likely word to come next? It's just continuing the pattern you started.
And that brings us to this perfect metaphor for our role in this whole process. Think of the AI like a camera lens. We control where it points. If you point it at something vague and blurry, guess what? You're going to get a vague and blurry picture. But if you focus that lens on something super specific and detailed, the result is going to be sharp and crystal clear.
And what does that mean? It means one really important thing. You are in control. You're the one driving. By strategically feeding the AI context before you ask for that final result, you can literally steer it away from that boring statistical average and guide it towards something truly exceptional and unique.
Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do this? Well, there's a simple, repeatable method for giving it that strategic context, and it's called the pre-prompt stack.
So, every conversation you have with an AI happens inside something called a context window. You can just think of it as the AI's short-term memory. The whole goal of the pre-prompt stack is to deliberately fill that memory up with really high-quality, strategic information before you ask for the final thing. You're basically giving it a mini training session for your specific task, right there in the chat.
And here's the framework. It's a really simple 4-step funnel, and it's super easy to remember. First, you start broad with Step 1, Research. This is where you gather all the basic data and facts. Then you narrow it down in Step 2, Strategy. Here you're defining a unique angle. After that, Step 3 is Structure, where you create an outline or a framework. And only after you've loaded up all that awesome context do you get to the final step, Step 4, Execution. That's when you ask for the final piece of content.
All right, theory is great and all, but the real proof is in the pudding, right? Let's walk through a real-world example so you can see for yourself just how dramatic the difference is between a simple, one-shot prompt and using a prompt stack.
And this is a great way to visualize the two outcomes. A single prompt gets you a flat photograph. It's basically just a collage of the most average common examples from its training data. But the prompt stack, that lets you build a 3D sculpture, a deliberately shaped object that has depth, dimension, and a real strategic form.
So, for our little experiment, we're going to use a really simple task, something anyone might ask an AI to do. The job is to write an ad for a new coffee that's smooth and has less caffeine. Pretty straightforward. First, let's try it the old-fashioned way, with just a single prompt.
And here's the result. Love coffee but hate the jitters? Our smooth flavor provides gentle energy. Less buzz, more chill. I mean, it's fine, right? It's not wrong, but it's just so generic. Hate the jitters, gentle energy, less buzz, more chill.
These are literally the most statistically average phrases you could possibly use. It's totally forgettable.
Okay, let's just wipe the slate clean on that one. Forget the single prompt. This time, we're going to do it the right way, with the prompt stack approach. We're going to build that context layer by layer before we even think about asking for the final ad.
So here's what our stack looks like. We start with research. Tell me about the most effective coffee ads of all time. We're loading its memory with examples of greatness. Then we move to strategy. Summarize why they worked and identify key persuasive elements. We're making it analyze why those ads were great. For structure, we prime it with the style of the best in the business. Are you seeing what's happening here? Its little short-term memory is now jam-packed with excellence, with persuasive tactics, with expert styles. And only now do we ask it to write the ad.
And just look at this. A former barista spent 2 years perfecting a coffee that doesn't make my hand shake. What happened when I switched for 30 days surprised me. Wow. This isn't just an ad, is it? It's the beginning of a story. It's got a character, the barista. It's got a specific problem, shaky hands, and it has a hook that makes you want to know what happens next. This isn't that flat, boring photograph from before. This is a carefully crafted sculpture. I mean, the difference is just staggering.
So this brings us to the most important point of all of this. Because when you apply this method, it does way more than just get you better answers. It fundamentally changes your entire relationship with AI. It turns you from just a user into something, well, something much more powerful.
Because here's the critical shift. Most people are using AI to just create more stuff, more busy work. You know, a flood of generic articles, average social media posts. The real power, the real leverage is in using AI to build the strategy that makes that content effective in the first place. You're not just creating more noise, you're creating high-quality strategic assets.
And honestly, this is the most empowering idea of all. When you use the prompting stack method, you're not just a passive user who's asking a question. You are actively programming the AI in real time. You're shaping its thought process and guiding it towards the exact outcome you want. This method gives you a repeatable framework to get excellent results every single time. You now have the keys to go way beyond the average and start creating truly unique, strategic things with AI. So yeah, you're no longer just a user. You're an AI programmer, and the only question left is, what are you going to build first?